Well, we have a run through for you. We have a lot of things to change on the slideshow. So the slideshow that you'll have will be slightly different. But we'll just go ahead and begin. And there's a lot of information that we're still working on this week. So just to give you a heads up.
Yeah.
But great progress. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we're making tons of progress.
You just can't tell on this. Okay. So my name is Austin Butler.
And I'm Sarah Stewart.
And today we're excited to talk to you about a new company that we're working on called Ubiq. And Ubiq is it's going to be a new watch that we're working on making. And basically throughout the history of watchmaking, there have been mechanical watches and kinetic watches, and that happened up until the 1930s. And from there, kinetic watches, automatic watches is what they're called, became very popular with companies like Rolex and Omega and Breitling and all of these very popular Swiss companies. And then in the 1970s came quartz watches, and quartz watches are specifically known because they require a battery and they're not mechanical. So it was a new type of technology. And so today we're posing a new type of technology that Ubiq facilitates, and that is the satellite technology. So our watch essentially
Our watch is
works off
going to
satellite.
be the meeting point between two ends. So we have the classic watches, which we've had for years and years, and now they're starting to come out with smartwatches. These smartwatches are more or less a phone on your wrist. And that's not what a lot of people are looking for. You know, there's a really big fashion aspect to wearing a watch, and everyone wants a nice looking watch.
Mm-hmm.
And wearing a phone on your wrist is not ideal for a lot of people. So we are coming in with a design that looks like a classic watch, but with a feature that is very technologically advanced and current with the times. Our watch would be connected with satellites so that you will always have the right time, and even if you change time zones, daylight savings, you will still have the right time. Your watch will update itself manually. On this watch, we're going to have a button on it so you can turn the satellite on and off. So if you get off the plane, you can press the button and it will connect to satellites and change your time. And we decided to put this feature on our watch so that your battery wasn't constantly running out and you would be able to only use the satellite when you needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, our product is great because, yes, it is a new concept, but it's not so new that it's unfamiliar to people. And it's different than most watches, but it's very much the same in the way that it will be a very classic look and just have one feature that is very different about it and make it technologically advanced.
And so we'd like to talk to you a little bit about this customer that will be using this watch. So the customer that we have in mind initially is going to be a male, and he's a young professional with a high level of disposable income. And this individual travels a lot. So he's always in different cities or in a new country, and he's changing time zones quite a bit. And so our watch will make it easier for him to make that transition and not have to make so many adjustments. His phone automatically connects to a satellite and changes the time. And so we want his watch to do the same. And so through this technology, this customer who travels will be able to stay current and not have to stop going and always be able to keep going with their professional careers and not have to worry about that transition phase when they're in a new time zone. And so our specific target market, again, is a traveler. And ultimately, we're beginning with the male line because this particular the traditional sizes of men's watches are a little bit larger, and the technology integrates a little bit easier into that model. And then eventually we plan to talk about a women's line, which we'll discuss in just a little bit. And so,
another reason we decided to make the watch for only male is because we're working currently on how we're going to put the watch together with all the different pieces, and we figure it would be better to have the option to make a physically larger watch. So we're going to start out with the male line, and we might decide to present it alongside with the female line, but currently we're just working on the male line. And how are we going to distribute this? We decided that our best way to distribute this for now, for the first couple of years, we're just going to do direct-to-consumer through a website. And potentially within a couple of years, we will form an exclusive relationship with a retailer, and we have many different future opportunities for this. We have been speaking with buyers at Saks Fifth Avenue, Barney's, Bloomingdale's, and Lord & Taylor. And of course, there are many different routes we could take. We could take small boutiques. We definitely plan to take it international, so they're all different things. But we want to start with direct-to-consumer to have this, to be able to create a personal relationship with the consumer, but also be able to make a bigger margin off of this originally.
Definitely. And so to talk a little bit about how our business model will be very successful, we have to first talk a little bit about our competitors. So initially, there are two companies that are in the satellite watch business currently. So Citizen and Seiko both utilize this technology in a limited edition model that they both created. And so we would initially be competing directly with them. And the way that we would be different is that our cost is going to be a lot lower, as well as the fact that we are not just limiting the number that are made. We have the capability of producing a lot and being able to get them to everyone. So another thing that has to do with that is we're competing also with other luxury brands. So Rolex, Seiko, Rolex, Omega, Breitling, all of these other companies that are traditional Swiss watches, and they make a GMT line, which is basically multiple time zones on a mechanical watch. We would be competing directly for those particular businesses because our technology incorporates a very classical design, a timeless design with a modern technological advancement. So we would be differentiating that way.
Our brand is also very, very important, and it's very important to make a really strong brand since we are, in a way, forming this kind of, we're opening up this new market. And I think the fact that smartwatches are coming out now and they're, having advertisements everywhere is really actually helping us open up this idea to the not classic watch. And so our brand, something we want to communicate across to people is that we're making their lives easier. We want to make time a non-issue, and we want to make it effortless and not a concern. So people don't have to worry, oh, is this the right time? Like, how can I check? How much time do I have? And sometimes, that can be an issue. So we want to make their lives easier by always making sure they are on the exact right time. And we want this to be really reliable, and our brand personality is going to have a lot of these features that you look for in, something you're depending on. So it needs to be dependable, it's for the traveler, it's progressive, and we have really great ideas for this brand that we're creating.
And so for the marketing, we will actually be working with a lot of fashion bloggers and social media websites, but that's not our traditional and our only marketing strategy. We have we're very interested in having media publications as well as Kickstarter. So Kickstarter will be a great way for us to launch this business initially because we can gain interest from consumers before we actually manufacture the product. So we can tell them about the costs associated, ask for a specific price, and there will be rewards associated with that, including actually owning one of the watches. And so from that platform, we can gauge interest, we can have people checking out the design and the technology, and from there we can begin the process of actually selling this watch. In terms of marketing, we also want to have campaigns specifically targeted at airports for those travelers. So initially, like we said, males would be the ones utilizing this particular watch or owning this watch, but soon, hopefully, females would also be able to purchase this watch, especially if they travel a lot. It makes it a lot easier. And then ultimately, we'd love to have exclusive partnerships with certain companies such as Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom and all of these higher-end Saks Fifth Avenue, all of those types of places. And of course, we foresee that happening much farther down the road, so 2 or 3 years once we've established our brand identity and we've begun marketing to our consumer.
Something else we want to talk about are our financials and manufacturing prices. So we're in talks with a bunch of different companies about, creating a prototype and how to manufacture it, and we actually are in talks of producing it in the United States, and that's something else we wanted to incorporate into our branding, that we are an American company. There are many nice watch companies that are foreign, and there are many things that are not produced in the United States. As we know, a lot of things are produced in Asia, and so that's not something that's out of the question, producing out of the country. But since we are in talks about producing in the United States, we think that could be a really great thing to add to our brand. So manufacturing, we're in talks with people in New York, Los Angeles, and we have to figure out those exact numbers. But for our pricing point, ideally between $600 to $1,000. So adding this technology to connect to satellite should only be about a maximum of $30 per watch added to the cost. And what would really be the biggest cost is research and development to how to actually put together the watches, how to put together these certain chips with, the regular parts of a watch. And we know it's done, it's very doable. It's been more than this has been done for different watches that have been created, as we touched on earlier. So we just have to figure out how to make it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we will really do from the money from this competition. We're going to start our research and development, and you'll see on our board of advisors, we have plenty of people who are really excited to help us out with this, but we need some finances to get us started.
And so, building on that, there's a lot of growth potential. So like we said previously, we will be starting with a male brand, but ultimately we'd love to have a women's brand. I don't know why I keep saying that. A women's brand. And that way, so by starting off by shrinking this technology and making it accessible, we would be able to obviously grow our target audience and ultimately sell more of these watches to travelers and people all over the world. So we would love to eventually have smartwatch features. So the way our company could transform through time would be developing this technology and these databases that would transfer that technology to the watches. So if you're in another city, you can see the time, and in addition to that, you could also see the weather or some other sort of digital technology that could be incorporated later. And of course, that would be a slightly different design. And then there's kinetic and solar possibilities. So another way to deal with this energy crisis that has to do with making the actual watch so the satellite takes up a lot of energy would be to have a better way of doing that. So with the kinetic technology or solar technology, we could potentially increase the battery life of the watch and make it last a little bit longer.
In addition to this brand we're creating, we are making sure that there are possible exit options. So once we create this brand and this and the technology to make this, we can actually patent the technology by design, the way we put it together, or just the technology in general. We can try and patent that, and then sell our company and our idea to a bigger watch company potentially. And we're looking at, even if we do decide to sell the watches and create a brand before selling it, which is the plan as of now, we can still sell the company 10 years down the road, and that's not the question. Something else we've really been talking about is making this into a service. So if you have a watch that you like and you wanted it to be connected to satellites, so you could always have these cool features too, then you could send us your watch and we could figure out how to build that into the watch you already have currently. And that's a service we've thought about doing.
Mm-hmm. And so we'd love to talk to you more about our management team. So we have people all over the world who are working with us to actually talk about developing this technology and distributing it in different department stores. And so Sarah can tell you a little bit more about that as well.
Right. So we have a consultant who is working on us with this very thoroughly. She's been really great. She's in New York. And from there, we are in touch with a lot of tech people at the University of Michigan, different engineers, and someone in Chicago. We've been talking with a bunch of different stores and buyers at those stores, such as Barney's, Bloomingdale's, Lord & Taylor, and one other that I mentioned earlier.
Saxon Avenue.
Saxon Avenue.
Saxon Avenue.
Saxon Avenue. That one. And then we have web designers on our team. We have market researchers on our team. We have, as I mentioned, engineers, brand strategists. We even have people in finance, so if we decided we wanted to open a store, we have people who are experts in commercial real estate who can help us do that. We really just have a great all-around team, and we're so happy that they're so excited to be working with us on this.
And so we're excited to hear your feedback about this technology and the application of this watch, and we would love for you to invest. So thank you.